Hey, how's it going, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Got quite a bit to go over in today's video. GOG is giving away a free game right now, and it's a pretty good game at that with free space too. Also, a new RPG is in the works by the developers of the Elder Scrolls, the older Elder Scrolls titles that is, so that's really cool. And there is a great deal on an Asus ROG Strix GeForce GTX 1660 Ti. I want to go over that at the end of this video. A lot of you guys have been hammering me to get back to doing more hardware videos, and those are coming. Hopefully, I feel like I say that every other month or so, but let's go over a good deal at the end of this video, and hopefully that could get me back on track. First of all, over on GOG, you can get a free copy of the sci-fi space title in Free Space 2. This game typically goes for $9.99 on Steam. GOG is, of course, DRM free, so you don't get a Steam key. You just download the game and it's good to go. GOG is a great platform. It's owned by CD Projekt Red, the guys that do the Witcher games, and they're working on Cyberpunk 2077. Thankfully, they haven't relegated their games to being exclusive to GOG, so that's kind of something cool to note, but they are giving away Free Space 2 right now, and the game itself is a follow-up to the classic Descent Free Space. The Great War is ready to engage you in the second round. Follow the Grand Terran Vossidan alliance further into the mysterious of the Shivans. Get your flight stick and hit the flight deck. The last time was just a warm-up. The game is received decently well on Steam. 220 Steam reviews, 72% positive, although the Metacritic score is a 91, so it was received very well by critics when the game originally released, and the game is set in the year 2367, 32 years after the Great War, or at least that is what you thought was the Great War. The endless line of Shivan capital ships, bombers, and fighters with super advanced technology was nearly overwhelming. As the Terran and Vossidan races finish rebuilding their decimated societies, a disturbance lurks in the not-so-far reaches of the Gamma Draconis system. Your nemesis have arrived, and they are wondering what happened to their scouting party. Again, the game regularly goes for relatively cheap at $9.99, but free on GOG is pretty nice, and the game is super easy to run. I mean, visually, it's nothing to write home about, but even if you're running on an old laptop, you should be able to run this game no problem, with the minimum requirements being a 1 GHz processor, 254 megabytes of RAM, DirectX version 7.0, so yes, we're going quite a bit back with that, and you want to have 2.5 gigabytes available to download. It recommended is 1.4 gigahertz or better, 512 megabytes of RAM, DirectX 9 compatible video card. And once again, 2.5 gigs should be available. I don't know how long they are running this giveaway, but you might as well go in the link. I'll put it in the description box below. Add it to your library and go from there. Alright, moving on from that, we do have a couple of other cool stuff to talk about. A new RPG is in the works by the Elder Scrolls' original developers, and they've actually formed a brand new studio in Once Lost Games. A lot of excitement surrounding this. I don't think I'm quite as excited as some other people, but that's because I don't have the attachment to the older Elder Scrolls titles as some of you guys do. I am a little bit younger, 23 years of age, and Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind was a little bit before my time. I did go back and play it, and I can definitely understand why people liked it so much, but let's be real, for somebody like me, Morrowind is quite a bit of an investment and quite a bit of a far cry from Oblivion or the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, especially Skyrim, and Skyrim was the game that really brought me into the Elder Scrolls. Prior to Skyrim, I really hadn't given the Elder Scrolls games much of a chance, but Skyrim got me really invested, and I know some people aren't as high on Skyrim, but I think Skyrim is a tremendous game, and yes, it made the franchise more accessible, but it also made the franchise more of a mainstream success in my eyes, and the mods that Skyrim has, I can gush about Skyrim for so long. I know it's one of those iconic games, and it's kind of easy to bash it and whatever the case may be, just because its popularity is so immense, but I love Skyrim, can't do anything about that. I've had the game since the Steam summer sale of 2012, and it's a game that I still go back and play pretty regularly. So enough gushing about that, let's talk about this. Once Lost Game is a newly formed studio by veteran developers of the Elder Scrolls series. Some of these devs are Julian LaFay, Ted Peterson, Vijay Lakshman, and Ian Phoenix. By the way, Ian Phoenix might be one of the most badass games I've ever heard a video game developer has. That's just a really cool name, but nonetheless, that's not what we're talking about. These guys have worked on many great games. Some of them are the Elder Scrolls Arena, the Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, and how about this, Spyro the Dragon, and on top of that, they've worked on a lot of other stuff. Ted Peterson put out a tweet. and he tweeted out, "The word is getting out, Once Lost Games is a new studio formed of the Elder Scrolls creators." And the statement continues saying, "Legendary role-playing game design for both newcomer and veteran RPG fans, Once Lost Games is an independent game development studio dedicated to reinvigorating the role-playing game genre with much-needed new ideas. Founded by veterans of 2 generations of gaming enthusiasts and experts, we aim to meet the gap between the deep, complex design pillars of games from the 1990s with the production values, improved controls, and quality of life features in games today. We're hard at work on our debut role-playing game title, which will be a massive open-world fantasy adventure and will boast revolutionary technology and game design by some of the most celebrated veterans of computer gaming who have created multiple Game of the Year winning titles." So this is something that seems to have a lot of potential. It does look like that they want to go back to RPG roots and making the games a little bit more challenging, not making them hold your hand as much, but at the same time have the quality of life of a modern title and the visual capabilities of a modern title, kind of trying to bring the best of both worlds together. Now, if it is going back to the challenge of some of the older Elder Scrolls title, I don't know. Those are going to be a little bit of a hard sell to me. I mean, I'm absolutely going to play this game when it does come out, but Morrowind was a game that, yes, I eventually put a sizable amount of time into, but if we're talking about games that I would immediately play right away, I'll definitely go with Skyrim over Morrowind any day of the week. But nonetheless, if it is a modern game, visually enhanced, obviously I'm going to give it a look. I should also note that some people are throwing around the idea that this is a spiritual successor to Morrowind or Daggerfall, and that's not necessarily the case. I don't see that posted anywhere. This is just a new RPG created by guys that are coming together, and it's trying to harken back to some of those old school games. However, I wouldn't necessarily call their new game a spiritual successor, even though it is an open world fantasy adventure. As we hear more about the title, I'll keep you guys up to speed, but I imagine that this is a game that we're probably not going to see for quite a while, especially as a debut title. You know that they're going to want to put as much emphasis as they can on development, and it'll be interesting. Is this the kind of game that they launch a Kickstarter for? Because it looks like that they're working on some sort of big budget games. Maybe it's still in its infancy, and they don't have the core structure of the game designed out, so they can't launch a Kickstarter page at this point, but this is exactly the kind of game that I think would thrive on Kickstarter, and I don't know what level of funding Once Lost Games does have from a major publisher or anything like that. But nonetheless, this is going to be a very interesting story to monitor over the coming months and even the coming years, depending on how long the development takes. Alright, lastly, I do want to note that the Asus ROG Strix GeForce GTX 1660 Ti has a really good deal available over on Newegg. It's listed at $325, but don't worry, you don't got to pay that, as there is a promo code shaving off $45. The promo code is 924FCS45, so I'll leave the promo code in the description box as well. I'll just leave the link in the description box as the promo code is just labeled on there. And then on top of that, so that would take the price down to $280, which is a relatively decent deal for a 1660 Ti, but there's also a $30 mail-in rebate attached, which if you take advantage of that, that'll knock it down to $250, and that is a really good deal for a 1660 Ti. This is a fantastic GPU for 1440p gaming. If you're looking to push 4K, 4K is just generally pretty hard to do no matter your video card, unless you have one of the top tier GPUs, and depending on what your expectations are in terms of performance settings and things like that. But the 1660 Ti, if you pick up a GPU like this and you're only gaming at 1080p, I do believe you're limiting the capabilities of this GPU quite a bit. 1440p would probably be the sweet spot. As a 6GB GPU, it's going to do really, really well on a lot of the latest games. Obviously, even at 1440p, hell, even at 1080p for some games, there's always that instance of a game just not being a great port, not being optimized for current hardware, or whatever the case may be. That's why me saying a blanket statement like this GPU can run every game at 1440p and 60 FPS necessarily isn't true. Even if I said this GPU could run every game at 1080p and 60 FPS, that wouldn't even be true, because again, there are those outliers, but generally speaking, relatively speaking, the GPU is going to offer really, really good performance, given that a $250 price point isn't all too crazy for a GPU, and it's still going to do rather well. And as far as fitting this into a budget build, this is the kind of GPU you would be able to fit into maybe even a $650 build. It would work really, really well at that. And if you open up the budget to like $700, honestly, you could still stick with a 1660 Ti, no problem. You can put that money towards other stuff in the build, so really good deal on this GPU. Newegg notes that the sale is ending in 14 hours, but sometimes the sales do persist after that. But whatever the case may be, if you have some interest, pick it up ASAP. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, free space Space is available right now as a freebie over on GOG. That is Free Space 2, by the way. A new RPG is in the works by the developers of Elder Scrolls' original titles. That has a lot of potential, but we'll see how that shapes up. It is going to be an old school game. Might not be something that's completely up my alley, but definitely a lot of interest is going to be had with that. And the Asus ROG Strix GeForce GTX 1660 Ti, again, available. What was it? $250 if you take advantage of the promo code as well as the rebate. I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. That's going to conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.